Welcome back to the channel Old Coins Value. Today's spotlight is on the legendary 1977 1-cent USA coin, a coin that on its surface looks like nothing more than a simple penny worth its face value of just 1 cent. But in the world of numismatics, hidden treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. And some coins that were struck decades ago hold mysteries, errors, and minting anomalies that can transform them into collectibles worth staggering fortunes. And among them is a particular variety of the 1977 1-cent coin that has become the subject of countless discussions, speculations, and passionate searches because of its rumored value of up to $15 million. Yes, you've heard that right. A coin with a face value of just 1 cent potentially worth $15 million because of the tiny mistakes and minting errors that occurred during its creation. Mistakes that make it one of the most sought-after coins for collectors all over the globe. And in this video we're going to take a very long and detailed journey into why such coins exist, how errors occur during the minting process, what types of mistakes can transform an ordinary penny into a rare gem, and why the 1977 penny in particular is so special. So sit back, relax, and let's unravel the story of how a coin that millions of people carried in their pockets back in 1977 could turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery if you happen to find the right one. Because the story of minting mistakes is as much about history and technology as it is about rarity and value, and every detail matters when it comes to identifying what makes a coin worth far beyond its denomination. Now, the first thing to understand about coins is that they are mass-produced in the millions and billions using dies, presses, and metals, and every step of this process has room for slight deviations. Some so minor that they pass unnoticed by the general public, but sharp-eyed collectors recognize them instantly as valuable anomalies. And with the 1977 penny, several known errors and possibilities exist that could make a particular specimen stand out as a once-in-a-generation find. For instance, double die errors, where the design elements such as the date, lettering, or even Lincoln's features appear doubled because the die shifted slightly during production, and these doubling errors are some of the most desirable in numismatics. Then we have off-center strikes where the coin is not struck correctly in the center of the planchet, leaving part of the design missing or pushed off to the edge, which can result in highly collectible pieces, and depending on the percentage of off-centering, values can skyrocket, especially when the date remains fully visible. But what makes the 1977 penny's lore even more intriguing is the possibility of wrong planchet errors. When a penny is struck on a blank intended for another denomination such as a dime or a foreign coin, and these spectacular mistakes are instantly valuable because they combine rarity with visual uniqueness. And then we must also consider mint mark errors, the tiny letters such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco, which denote the mint where the coin was produced. And in 1977, mint marks were still punched into dies by hand, meaning slight variations, misplacements, or even missing marks could occur, making certain coins rarer than others. And if you happen to come across a 1977 penny with a misplaced D mint mark, a filled mint mark, or a completely missing one, you could be looking at something worth far more than face value. Now, when collectors talk about the multi-million-dollar valuation of certain 1977 pennies, what they are really highlighting is the perfect storm of extreme rarity, condition, desirability, and error type, because not every error penny will fetch such an astronomical sum, but under the right circumstances, with the right type of error combined with pristine condition graded by top authorities like PCGS or NGC, values can escalate beyond imagination, and this is what drives the obsession among coin enthusiasts who search rolls, collections, and old jars in hopes of finding that elusive specimen. And to put it into perspective, most 1977 pennies are copper-based since they were produced before the composition change in 1982, meaning they are made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. But among the billions minted, there are always a handful of coins with mistakes that slip through quality control, and those are the coins we're discussing. So imagine finding a 1977 penny with a double die obverse where Lincoln's profile shows clear doubling, combined with an off-center strike of 20% and perhaps even a misplaced Denver mint mark. Suddenly that coin goes from being a common penny to a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. And when such coins reach auction houses, bidding wars begin as serious collectors, museums, and wealthy enthusiasts compete to own a unique piece of American minting history, pushing values into the millions. And the beauty of this story is that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon such a coin in their change or tucked away in an old collection passed down through generations, meaning the potential discovery of a coin worth $15 million is not locked away behind glass in some museum but could be resting unnoticed in a box in your attic. And that possibility fuels the dream of treasure hunting among everyday people. Now let's explore some specific types of errors in detail, starting with double die errors, which are among the most famous and valuable of all. When the hub imprints the die more than once at slightly different angles, it causes letters and numbers to appear doubled, and if this occurs on the date 1977 or on Lincoln's motto, "In God We Trust," or the word "Liberty," collectors immediately recognize its rarity, and depending on clarity, these coins can command staggering prices. Then there are repunched mint marks, another intriguing type of error, since mint marks were punched manually. If a worker accidentally struck the mark in the wrong place and had to repunch it, you might see two impressions, overlapping or slightly separated, and these repunched mint mark errors are highly collectible, especially for the Denver Mint pennies of 1977, which are the ones most commonly searched. But don't forget about die cracks, where a crack develops in the die itself and transfers raised lines or breaks onto the coin, making each piece unique, and the more dramatic the die crack, the higher the potential value. Similarly, die clashes can occur when the dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of one side of the coin on the other, and such dramatic errors are beloved by collectors for their distinctive appearance. And if you happen to find a 1977 penny with both a clash mark and a doubling error, you could be holding something extraordinary. And now imagine the holy grail of errors, a 1977 penny struck on a dime planchet, lighter in weight, slightly smaller, and missing part of the design. Such a wrong planchet strike would be instantly recognizable and could sell for a fortune. And when coins like these surface at auctions, their prices depend on a mix of factors including rarity, eye appeal, provenance, and above all demand. And demand is high for Lincoln cents, which are the most collected coins in American history, with millions of hobbyists searching for rare varieties. And this immense collector base is what drives values higher and higher. So when someone mentions a 1977 penny fetching millions, it's not an exaggeration but a reflection of the intense demand combined with extraordinary rarity. And what adds to the magic is that not all varieties are documented, meaning there might still be undiscovered 1977 pennies with unique mistakes waiting to be found, and this keeps the chase alive, motivating collectors to check every coin, every roll, every jar, hoping to be the lucky person who uncovers the next great discovery. And if you think about it, it's poetic that a coin worth just a cent, something so ordinary and overlooked, can through a quirk of fate and human error become worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or even islands, and that transformation is what captures imaginations, making stories about multimillion-dollar pennies so captivating. And as we move deeper into the topic, let's not forget about grading, because even the rarest error coin loses value if it's heavily worn or damaged. So condition is king in the world of numismatics, and the higher the grade, especially uncirculated or mint-state specimens, the higher the value. So if you ever come across an unusual 1977 penny, the first step is to avoid cleaning it or handling it roughly. Instead, preserve it carefully and get it evaluated by professional grading services, because authentication and certification can mean the difference between a coin selling for a few $100s and one selling for millions. And stories of people discovering rare pennies in circulation or tucked away in old jars are not myths but realities that have happened countless times, making the dream very much alive for anyone watching this video. And when we consider why a 1977 penny can be worth up to $15 million, we see it is not just about one type of error but the combination of circumstances, the perfect alignment of rarity, condition, error type, and collector demand. And these elements together elevate an otherwise ordinary coin into the stratosphere of value. And while the odds of finding such a coin are slim, the possibility is real, and that possibility is what makes this hobby endlessly exciting. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the change in your pocket, remember that the story of the 1977 penny is more than just about money, it's about history, craftsmanship, human error, and the thrill of discovery, and that's
We are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in the world of numismatics. A story that has captured the imagination of coin collectors, treasure hunters, and history lovers alike. And that is the story of the 1983 1-cent coin from the United States of America. A humble penny with a face value of just 1 cent. But in an extraordinary turn of events, And because of a series of rare circumstances, mistakes, minting anomalies, and production blunders, certain examples of this coin have reached a staggering value in the collector's market, with one of them estimated at a jaw-dropping $12 million, an amount that seems surreal when you think about the small copper-coated piece of metal that most of us pass over without a second glance in our everyday transactions. And yet here lies the magic of numismatics, where the smallest object can carry with it incredible value, mystery, and allure. And in this video, we're going to take you through the entire story, peeling back the layers of history, explaining the background of the 1983 penny, why it was minted the way it was, what changes happened in the early 1980s in the composition of the coin, what errors slipped through at the mints, what kinds of varieties collectors look for, how mint marks and misplaced strikes can change a penny's destiny, and why one particular 1983 penny has been valued at $12 million, as well as the many possibilities that make other 1983 cents incredibly collectible and worth far more than their tiny denomination suggests. So let's set the stage by remembering that in 1982, the United States Mint changed the composition of the penny from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc due to rising metal costs. And that change brought with it a host of challenges, adjustments, and in some cases, unexpected mistakes. And in 1983, the Mint was still adapting to this new composition, which meant that transitional errors, wrong planchets, and striking anomalies were more likely to occur. Collectors discovered that some 1983 pennies were mistakenly struck on bronze planchets left over from the previous year, creating an immediate rarity since almost all 1983 cents were supposed to be zinc-based. This is one of the first clues as to why some 1983 pennies could be worth tens of thousands or even millions. But the story does not stop there, because minting errors are not just about metal composition. They also include double dies, off-center, strikes, broad strikes, wrong mint mark placements, die cracks, clip planchets, and other fascinating anomalies that can make a single coin stand out from millions. In the case of the 1983 penny, one of the most famous and dramatic errors involves the double die reverse variety, where the word 1 cent and the lettering United States of America show significant doubling that is clearly visible to the naked eye. Collectors prize these coins because they represent not just a curiosity, but also a tangible mistake in the minting process. And when you combine rarity with demand, you get exponential value. So when a 1983 penny exhibits an extreme error, such as a double die in pristine condition, suddenly the 1 cent coin transforms into a fortune. Now the tale of the $12 million penny comes from the intersection of rarity, error, provenance, and collector frenzy. Imagine a 1983 penny struck on the wrong planchet, displaying a dramatic double die with impeccable condition, perhaps even graded by a leading service as mint state or proof-like. Add to that a backstory of being discovered decades later in circulation or in an old collection, and suddenly the coin becomes the centerpiece of headlines, auction wars, and global attention, which pushes its price into astronomical territory. Many ask, how could a penny really be worth $12 million? And the answer lies not only in its physical rarity, but in the psychology of collecting in the competition among wealthy collectors to own something truly unique, and in the fact that history only made a handful of these errors. And so as demand exceeds supply, the sky truly is the limit. But aside from the single $12 million example, the 1983 penny as a whole offers so many possibilities for collectors to find hidden treasures. One could find bronze planchet transitional errors worth tens of thousands, double die reverses worth thousands, off-metal strikes that are virtually priceless, and countless varieties that turn ordinary change into extraordinary assets. Furthermore, mint mark anomalies play a huge role, with the 1983 penny struck at Philadelphia bearing no mint mark, while those from Denver have the D mint mark. Yet within these categories, errors occur. Sometimes the mint mark is repunched, misplaced, or shows signs of overpunching, creating sub-varieties that collectors chase eagerly. And every small deviation adds to the story of value. Imagine the excitement of someone checking their pocket change and spotting a doubling in the letters or an unusual weight that suggests a copper planchet rather than zinc. That small discovery could mean a retirement fund sitting quietly in a jar of coins, and that thrill of the hunt is what drives the obsession and the soaring values. The 1983 penny reminds us that mistakes often create masterpieces in the world of collecting. And as we explore this subject deeper, we realize that every aspect of the coin, from its metal to its strike to its markings, could potentially contain secrets that elevate it to legendary status. The early 1980s were a turbulent time for the U.S. Mint in terms of adjusting to costs, new materials, and high production demands, which meant the room for anomalies was greater than ever. And 1983 stands as a year that produced both the ordinary billions of zinc cents and the extraordinary rare errors that have gone down in history. Now, if you wonder how collectors verify these errors, the answer lies in careful study, magnification, weighing the coin precisely, testing its composition, and grading it through trusted organizations like PeaceGS or NGC. A certified error coin with documentation skyrockets in value, because authenticity is everything in a market filled with imitations and misunderstandings. And for the $12 million penny, the certification and provenance become as important as the coin itself, proving that this humble cent is truly a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The myth and reality of the 1983 penny also fuel each other, with stories spreading across coin forums, YouTube videos, and news articles that inspire people worldwide to check their change, search through old rolls, and rediscover forgotten jars of pennies, because anyone could be holding a fortune without even realizing it, and that sense of possibility adds to the mystique. For seasoned numismatists, the 1983 cent represents a crucial study piece in transitional errors and double dies, while for casual treasure hunters, it represents a dream of finding a millionaire's coin in everyday life. And for historians, it represents the fascinating intersection of economics, minting technology, and human error, all encapsulated in a small disc of metal. So when we talk about $12 million for a penny, we are not exaggerating the importance of its context. The way it ties into broader narratives of scarcity, desire, and value, and the way collectors drive markets based on passion and competition. Think also of how this penny becomes a cultural symbol, reminding us that great worth can hide in the smallest places, that mistakes can lead to unimaginable fortunes, and that history often rewards those who pay attention to details others ignore. So whether you're a lifelong collector or just someone curious about coins, the story of the 1983 penny shows us the magic of numismatics. And as you continue to explore this world, you will realize that the 1983 cent is just one example among many. Yet it shines brighter because of its staggering $12 million figure, a number that grabs headlines and cements its place in legend. And who knows, perhaps one day you might stumble across one of these extraordinary coins and join the exclusive ranks of those who turned a penny into a fortune, because the possibilities remain out there, waiting in circulation, in collections, and in forgotten drawers, waiting for someone to discover them. And that is what makes this journey so engaging. So we encourage you to keep learning, keep searching, and keep appreciating the wonders hidden in the simplest of objects. Because as the 1983 penny has shown us, the line between ordinary and extraordinary is thinner than we imagine. And sometimes it only takes a small coin to reveal $1 million story.